Every time you announce a plan before you've actually done it, you lose a small piece of the drive that was supposed to carry it out. Every time you explain, justify, or defend a decision nobody actually challenged, you hand away energy that should have gone into the decision itself. Talk is not free, it only feels that way. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the quietest people in any room are so often the ones actually getting things done, while everyone else is still explaining what they're about to do. Let's start with the truth nobody tells you. There is a strange psychological trap built into announcing your goals out loud. The moment you tell people what you're going to do, your brain often registers a small hit of social recognition, almost as if the goal itself has already been partially achieved. You get a taste of the reward, the nodding approval, the "wow, that's impressive," before you've actually done any of the work required to earn it. This isn't a minor quirk. Multiple lines of psychological research point to the same conclusion. People who announce their goals prematurely are often less likely to follow through, precisely because the announcement itself scratched part of the itch that was supposed to drive the actual effort. The 1% understand this instinctively, even if they've never studied the research behind it. They don't talk about what they're going to build, they build it. And often, the first anyone hears about it is when it's already done. Let's talk about why this matters far beyond just goal setting. The first reason: words spent in advance are motivation spent in advance. Motivation is not an unlimited resource. It's finite, it fluctuates, and it needs to be protected, not leaked out in conversations, social media posts, or lengthy explanations of your plans. Every time you talk extensively about what you intend to do, you are spending a small amount of that finite motivation on the talking itself, leaving less available for the actual doing. The second reason: talking creates accountability to an audience, not to the work. When you talk extensively about a plan, a part of your mind shifts toward managing how that plan is perceived by others, rather than focusing purely on executing it well. You start caring about how the story sounds, rather than whether the actual outcome is good. This subtle shift can quietly derail effort that should have been entirely focused on quality and results. The third reason: silence protects your plans from unnecessary interference. The moment people know what you're working toward, you open yourself up to doubt, unsolicited opinions, comparison, and sometimes even subtle sabotage from people who, consciously or not, feel threatened by your ambition. Working quietly protects your plans from all of this noise until you're ready to reveal something that's already real, instead of something still fragile and forming. Let's talk about the specific ways excessive talking quietly drains your power in everyday situations most people never think twice about. The first pattern: over-explaining decisions nobody questioned. You make a choice, and immediately you feel compelled to justify it at length to people who never even asked for an explanation in the first place. This habit doesn't come from confidence. It comes from an underlying need for approval, a fear that your decision won't be accepted unless you've pre-defended it thoroughly enough. The 1% make decisions and let the decision speak for itself. If someone genuinely asks why, they answer briefly, honestly, without unnecessary elaboration. They don't preemptively justify choices that were never actually challenged. The second pattern: narrating your effort instead of simply putting in the effort. Constantly talking about how hard you're working, how busy you are, how much you're grinding, often becomes a substitute for the actual grinding itself. The energy spent narrating your effort to others is energy not spent on the effort itself. This doesn't mean you can never share your progress. It means noticing the difference between sharing something real after it's been done versus constantly narrating effort as a way of seeking validation for work that isn't actually finished yet. The third pattern, arguing with people who were never going to be convinced anyway. Some arguments are genuinely worth having, most, especially online or with people who've already made up their mind, are not. Every minute spent trying to convince someone who has no real interest in changing their view is a minute stolen from actually building something real in your own life. The 1% recognize quickly which conversations are worth their energy and which ones are simply noise dressed up as debate. They walk away from the second kind, not out of weakness, but because they understand exactly where their energy is better spent. Let's talk about the deeper reason talking too much feels so hard to resist, even once you understand its cost. Talking gives immediate social feedback. Doing the actual work often doesn't, not for a long time. When you talk about your plans, you get instant reactions, encouragement, questions, interest. When you're actually doing the quiet, unglamorous work required to achieve something meaningful, there's often very little external feedback at all, sometimes for months or even years. This creates a real psychological pull toward talking because it satisfies an immediate need for validation, while doing genuinely feels slower, quieter, and less immediately rewarding. Understanding this pull is the first step in resisting it. Let's talk about how this principle plays out specifically in relationships and social situations, not just personal ambition. When someone disrespects you or says something unfair, the instinct for many people is to respond immediately, extensively, defending themselves point by point. But often, the most powerful response is far shorter than the instinct demands. A brief, calm statement, or sometimes simply no response at all, communicates far more strength than an extended emotional defense ever could. This is not about being cold or withholding. It's about understanding that not every provocation deserves the gift of your extended attention and words. Some things are simply beneath a lengthy response, and giving them one only elevates their importance beyond what they actually deserve. Let's talk about promises specifically, because this is where talk versus action matters most visibly to other people. Every time you promise something you don't follow through on, even something small, you quietly erode your own credibility, both in other people's eyes and in your own internal sense of self-trust. Over time, a pattern of unfulfilled promises, even well-intentioned ones, teaches everyone around you, including yourself, that your words don't reliably predict your actions. The 1% are extremely careful about what they promise, precisely because they understand this. They would rather under-promise and consistently deliver than overpromise and create a pattern of disappointment. Their word becomes valuable, specifically because it's rarely given carelessly and almost always followed through on. Let's talk about social media specifically, because it has made this entire principle far harder to practice than it once was. Every platform is built to reward talking. Posting about your goals, your workouts, your business plans, your self-improvement journey, all of it generates likes, comments, and attention, often before any real sustained results have actually been achieved. This creates a powerful incentive to perform progress rather than quietly build it. The 1% are far more selective about what they share publicly and when. They understand that the dopamine hit from posting about a plan can quietly satisfy the same psychological need that was supposed to drive the actual work, leaving less genuine motivation available for the harder, quieter effort required to actually achieve it. This doesn't mean you can never share anything before it's finished. It means being honest with yourself about why you're sharing it. Is this genuine documentation of real progress, or is this substituting the appearance of progress for progress itself? Let's talk about the ancient roots of this idea, because like calm, it's not a new concept, it's tested wisdom that has survived for thousands of years. The Stoics placed enormous value on restraint in speech, not because they believed silence was inherently superior to communication, but because they understood that careless, excessive talk often revealed a lack of internal discipline, while measured, deliberate speech reflected a mind that was actually in control of itself. Ancient wisdom across many traditions, not just Stoicism, consistently points to the same idea. The tongue moves faster than the mind can fully consider, and a person who masters the pause between thought and speech gains a significant advantage over one who simply says whatever comes to mind first. This isn't about becoming silent or withdrawn. It's about becoming deliberate, speaking because something genuinely needs to be said, not simply because silence feels uncomfortable or because talking provides an easy substitute for the harder work of actually doing something. Let's talk about what non-doing more actually looks like in practice, because it's easy to say and much harder to consistently live. The first practice: let your results be the announcement. Instead of telling people what you're planning to build it first. Let the finished product, the visible change, the tangible results speak for itself. This isn't about being secretive out of insecurity. It's about protecting your energy and your plans until they're strong enough to stand entirely on their own merit. The second practice: reduce the ratio of talking about work to actually doing work. Notice honestly how much time you spend discussing your goals, plans, and ambitions, compared to how much time you spend actually executing them. If the ratio is heavily skewed toward talking, that imbalance is worth addressing directly, deliberately shifting more of your energy toward action and less toward narration. The third practice: give yourself permission to work in silence, even when it feels uncomfortable. Many people feel a strong urge to share progress constantly, partly because doing meaningful work in silence, without external validation along the way, feels isolating or uncertain. Learning to tolerate this discomfort, to keep showing up for the work even without regular applause, is itself a form of discipline that compounds significantly over time. The fourth practice: say less in conflict, not more. The next time you're in a disagreement, notice the urge to over-explain, over-defend, or over-argue your position. Practice saying less than the urge demands. A short, clear statement, delivered calmly, often carries far more weight and authority than an extended emotional defense ever could. Let's talk about the specific fears that keep people talking excessively, because understanding the fear underneath the behavior makes it far easier to change. The first fear: if I don't explain myself, people will misunderstand me or think badly of me. This fear assumes that other people's opinions of you are both accurate and within your control, if only you explain yourself thoroughly enough. In reality, some people will misunderstand you regardless of how much you explain, and others will understand you just fine without needing lengthy justification. Extensive explanation rarely changes someone's mind if they were determined to judge you unfavorably to begin with. The second fear: if I don't talk about my plans, it means they're not real or I'm not actually committed to them. This is backwards. The people most committed to their goals are often the ones talking about them the least, precisely because all their energy is directed toward the work itself, rather than toward describing the work to others. Silence around a goal is not a sign of weak commitment. It's often a sign that your commitment doesn't need external validation to sustain itself. The third fear: if I stay quiet, people will forget about me or overlook my efforts. This fear drives a lot of unnecessary self-promotion and narration. But consistent, quality results over time speak far louder and more convincingly than constant talking about your own efforts ever could. People notice real results. They eventually tune out excessive self-narration, even when it's technically accurate. Let's talk about something important. This principle is not about becoming closed off, unable to communicate, or incapable of sharing your life with people who genuinely care about you. Talking less, doing more, is not about withholding connection, support, or genuine communication from people close to you. It's specifically about reducing unnecessary talk, empty promises, premature announcements, excessive self-justification, defensive over-explaining. Not about becoming cold or disconnected from real relationships. There's a clear difference between meaningful communication and talk that exists purely to seek validation, avoid discomfort, or substitute for actual effort. The goal is cutting the second kind while still fully engaging in the first. Let's talk about a way to think about this that might help you hold on to it. Imagine two blacksmiths. One spends most of his time describing in elaborate detail the incredible sword he's going to forge, how sharp it will be, how beautifully it will be balanced, how impressed everyone will be once it's finished. The other simply works quietly at the forge, day after day, saying very little about what he's building. Eventually, one of them actually has a sword. The other has an elaborate description of a sword that may or may not ever actually get made. Talk, no matter how detailed or impressive, does not forge anything. Only the work, done quietly and consistently, actually produces the result. Let's talk about how this shows up specifically in the workplace or professional settings, because it's one of the most practical places to apply this principle. Many people believe that talking extensively about their contributions, their effort, their ideas, is what earns respect and recognition at work. In reality, the people who are most respected long-term are usually the ones whose actual output speaks clearly for itself, requiring little additional narration to be noticed and valued. This doesn't mean never advocating for yourself or never communicating your contributions clearly when it's genuinely relevant. It means the ratio matters. If your talking about your work consistently outweighs the quality and consistency of the work itself, that imbalance eventually becomes visible to the people around you, and it rarely reflects well. Let's talk about how this applies to personal growth and self-improvement specifically, since it's directly relevant to why you're likely watching this video. Many people spend enormous amounts of time consuming content about self-improvement, discussing their goals with friends, planning elaborate systems and routines, while spending comparatively little actual time executing simple, consistent action. This isn't laziness in the traditional sense. It's often a subtle substitution, where learning about improvement and talking about wanting to improve replaces the less glamorous, quieter work of actually improving. The 1% don't necessarily consume more self-improvement content than everyone else. They simply convert a much higher percentage of what they learn into consistent, quiet action, rather than letting it remain purely theoretical, discussed, but never actually implemented. Let's talk about the compounding effect of this principle over time, because this is where its real power becomes visible. A person who talks extensively about their goals, but follows through inconsistently, tends to accumulate a pattern of unfinished plans, broken promises to themselves, and a slowly eroding sense of self-trust. Even if no one else notices the gap between their words and actions, they notice it internally, and it quietly undermines their own confidence over time. A person who talks little, but consistently follows through on what they commit to, even in small, unglamorous ways, builds the opposite: a deepening sense of self-trust, a track record, even if only visible to themselves, of being someone whose word and actions align. This self-trust compounds, becoming the foundation for increasingly ambitious commitments, because each one is built on a solid history of actually following through. Let's talk about what to actually do with all of this, practically starting today. First, the next time you're about to announce a plan or goal to someone, pause. Ask yourself honestly, am I sharing this because it's genuinely necessary, or because I want the social reward of having announced it before I've actually done the work? Second, notice one area of your life where you've been over-explaining or over-justifying decisions that were never actually challenged. Practice this week simply making the decision and letting it stand without extensive justification. Third, the next time you're drawn into an argument that isn't genuinely worth your energy, practice disengaging early, calmly, without needing to have the final word or win the exchange. Fourth, choose one goal you've been talking about but haven't been consistently acting on. This week, work on it quietly without discussing it, and notice how the absence of external narration changes your relationship to the actual effort. Let's talk about something important before we finish. This principle is not about suppressing your voice, your personality, or your genuine desire to connect and share with people who matter to you. It's about recognizing where talk has quietly substituted for action in your life, where explanation has replaced confidence, where narration has replaced the harder, quieter work of simply doing what needs to be done. Once you see this pattern clearly, you can start redirecting that same energy deliberately back toward the actions that actually create the results you're looking for. The people who move through this world most effectively rarely need to convince anyone of their capability through extensive talking. Their results, consistently, quietly, do that convincing for them. Let me leave you with this. You do not need to explain every decision you make. You do not need to announce every goal before you've earned the right to discuss it through actual progress. You do not need to win every argument, defend every choice, or narrate every ounce of effort you're putting in. You simply need to do the work, quietly, consistently, without needing an audience to validate it along the way. Let your results carry the weight that your words used to try and fail to carry on their own. Talk is cheap, not because words don't matter, but because words without consistent action behind them eventually mean nothing to other people and eventually to yourself as well. Action, quiet and consistent, is the only thing that has ever actually built anything real. The next time you feel the urge to explain, justify, announce, or defend, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Would this energy be better spent actually doing the thing instead of talking about it? More often than not, the answer will be yes. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. So many people spend far more time talking about the life they want to build than actually building it, without ever realizing that shift is available to them. If you're new here, this channel is called Withinism. We talk about things like this every week: the discipline nobody teaches you, and the honest, practical work of finally closing the gap between your words and your actions. If this video helped you, subscribe, not for me, For the version of you that's tired of talking about change and ready to actually become it, quietly, one consistent action at a time. And if someone comes to mind who talks a lot about their goals but rarely follows through, send this to them, gently. Sometimes the right reminder at the right moment is exactly what someone needs to finally close that gap. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.